Alright, what's up guys? My name is John Wright. I'm here today to show you all how to make different kinds of charts in Excel. Okay, so charts are very important to different types of presentations that you might do in your professional career, whether it's for your boss or at a team meeting or a group presentation at school. Charts are always better because you can represent stuff pictorially and it cuts out the use for too many words and um, things that kind of bore you. You know, pictures always make things more exciting because it's something visual that can keep your attention as opposed to someone talking at you like I'm doing in this video. But alright, let's get into it. Now, say for this right here, we have the 2012 presidential election results. Of course, we know who won that election, but anyway, at that present time, we have four main candidates and others, and we have the total number of votes that each party got, or each individual. So say I want to make a pie chart out of this. Alright, well what I would do is I would select all the information that's right here, and I would go to Insert. Now, you see this section right here, and we see Pie, and there's a drop down section where we can insert a pie chart. We click. For our purposes, we're going to do a 2D pie chart and not a 3D pie chart. That's doing a little too much just for a tutorial video. So we click. We now have a pie chart. Really basic. You know, the colors aren't really popping out like that. There's no labeling to know what the votes are for the chart, and our title isn't even matching like that. So, okay, that's fine if you're trying to underachieve, but if you're trying to overachieve, why don't you just go to the layout, right? And let's say we wanted to add some labels to it. Okay, we can add data labels, and we can either put them in the center like this for the different votes, or if it's something like a sliver like this, you could just put it on the outside, and then the colors still correspond with the votes, of course. So I'm gonna fast forward a little bit, and I'm gonna go to this chart right here, which is essentially the same chart, but this is my end result. It has a proper title. I did all of this in the layout. The chart title's right here, or I can move it. You know, that would affect the legend, make the legend move, but as you see, the colors still correspond and the votes are in a nice place to where you can still read everything. Lines are connecting. I even tried to play off of the whole Democratic Republican Party thing with the red and the blue colors for each person's party. But anyway, this is just a simple pie chart. You would mess with your labeling in the layout section. Layout for how you want to lay out your graph, presumably, and then design for how you want the design to be, whether it's the coloring and you know, that sort of thing. Alright, so moving forward, right here is a list of all the homes that were sold in Florida, I believe in the years 2012 and 2013. Now, my professor set up this Excel problem where we have the street number, the street type, city, zip code, sales date, month, day, and year, and the actual price. Now, he wants us to do I believe a bar graph for this one. Alright, and he wants us to have the x-axis of our bar graph, the zip code, and then he wants the homes that were sold specifically in 2012. Alright, and he wants to know the number of homes that were sold, basically. So when you have a table like this, it's a lot of information to process. You're not going to sit here and physically count this out. So what I do is I select all the information using Control A, and then I format everything as a table first. Okay, so yeah, you know, Control A, format as a table. Alright, I now have a table with all the information, and then I can just go to Insert. Oh, I'm in I must be in Microsoft Excel Starter. I am. Okay, that's cool. Let's go over here. Alright, could select all this, format as a table, go to insert, turn into a pivot table. Alright, must have created a new one because I already had one, but anyway, it turns all that into a pivot table, right? So this is our pivot table information. Looks a little bit smaller because of the resolution and stuff. I moved it over, so we'll move this over. But this is essentially our pivot table information right here. Okay, now he wants to find the number of homes that were sold by zip code. So for the axis fields, of course, we put zip codes down here. We just take it from here and we drag it like we normally would do with the pivot table. And then he wants to find those that were sold in the year 2012. So that's something, that's a filter, definitely, because we're trying to filter out specific results. So we go down to all, and instead of doing all, we do 12 and not 13 because we're doing the year 2012. And then just for good measure, I wanted the legend to have the different cities that they were sold in, even though we have the zip code as well. And then we're of course counting the numbers of homes sold, so we might as well do a count by street. So if we're going to make a bar graph out of this, we can just click anywhere in the pivot table, go to insert, and click bar, right? And this would be the result. This is a bar graph of all of our results by zip code, and as you can see with the data labels in the layout section, let me click in here, layout section. Of course, I was able to put my title in the right place. I was also able to put this title right here for my y-axis, which if I wanted to make this horizontal, I could just right click, format axis title, go to alignment, go to text direction, and then I could just rotate it 270 and it would change just like that. So if we zoom out a little more, we see this is our whole table. We're zoomed out, so keep in mind that's why it looks small, but this is something we can bring to a presentation, and it looks really nice, and it's color coded. You can always play around with the colors and the design function. It can change all of them, or you can specifically change them one by one. It just takes a little more time to do so. Alright, now we're going to move on to the last type of graph that I want you guys to learn today, and that is a line graph. Alright, so this is a line graph, right? Now, say we're working with this information off to the left, which would be the Dow Jones adjustable close going back to January 2011. Alright, originally it was given to us in this PowerPoint. So what you would do is, again, you have a good amount of information, so Control A to select it all, and then format it as a table. And then after you format it as a table, turn it into a pivot table. So once it's turned into a pivot table, you know, we're just trying to get the sum of all the adjustable close numbers. So those are the values we're working with, and the date will be the rows. Alright, and then you end up with this right here. Alright, and this line is represented in the legend as total, because that's the total that the Dow Jones closed at a specific date, and our left side would be the number in thousands. Alright, and we could always adjust this by going to the formatting of the axis title and doing alignment and going through that to make it horizontal as opposed to vertical. Just really depends on what you want to do. But yeah, essentially, yeah, you have your line graph, you have your title, which, remember, you can adjust all these things in your layout section. Your data labels, you can put them in the center, see for all the different numbers that you have, but that makes it cluttered. You don't want to do that, so you would have to find a different way around that. But you can also fool around with your axis and show your axis without labeling. So see, it just took away all the dates at the bottom. It's really just a There's just a lot of things that you can do to make this kind of interesting. You can go to design, change the colors, maybe make it the company colors, that type of thing. You can just do a lot of stuff to make your graph into something meaningful, I should say. But yeah, overall, that's pretty much how you make a graph in Excel. Once you gather your information, like what I like to do, if it's a lot, again, I put it into a pivot table. I format everything as a table, turn it into a pivot table, and then I put everything into the proper field off to the right, depending on what I'm looking for. And then I just go to the insert part and I select whether I want a column graph, a line chart, pie chart, or a bar chart. And it can be 2D, it can be 3D, it can be cones. It's really a limitless amount of options. So yeah, if you guys have any specific questions about this line chart or the information used in the pie chart, or even in our bar chart, feel free to ask on YouTube. But yeah, once again, my name is John Wright, and this is how you make a chart in Microsoft Excel. Thanks.